Welcome to another episode with the Unspecialist. Today we're going to talk about the secret to owning the new year. We would have gotten past the misconceptions that we all may hold about the new year and the magical aura that we might attach to a new year. And of course, in the last episode, we talked about the importance of planning. In that episode, I did say that planning was everything. And at face value, that seems to be a very good statement. Unfortunately, planning is just the tip of the iceberg. Now, if you were to ask a random person what they would suggest for you to have a good year, an excellent year, a successful year, what you would need to see all your plans come to good and successful conclusion, you'd most likely get an answer something like this. You need to work hard. Hard work is the key to success. Once you work hard, your plans, they're going to be successful. And all those statements are well-intentioned, and all those statements do have some degree of truth to them. Hard work is definitely a key component of executing any plan that you might have in the short term, mid-term, long term, or in this case, a plan you might have for the year. And that's nothing wrong with the advice that you'd get from a random person. However, hard work, unfortunately, isn't going to get you to the finish line, or at least not by itself. So that begs the question then, what is the secret to having a successful year? It's not just the hard work. To put it in one word, the secret to having a successful year this year is going to be consistency. And that sounds just like planning itself to be quite easily said. And that's true. It's very easy to say, you have to be consistent. However, the doing part is a bit more complicated. Luckily, I've got good news, and unluckily, I've got some bad news for everyone listening to this video. The good news is that everyone, by virtue of being human, is on some level consistent. Human beings are creatures of habit, and we love to get into a routine and stick with it for as long as we can because that makes us comfortable. Unfortunately, and that's where the detriment of being comfortable comes in, most persons are consistent in activities that aren't conducive to having a successful year or conducive to productivity. I mean, how many of us can say, we get sidetracked by Netflix when we've got schoolwork to do for those college students out there? Or how many of us get sidetracked by a tasty piece of fried chicken or something else? Maybe a bagel, a donut, a brownie. When it comes to sticking to your diet plan or your exercise plan for the year, that is where the consistency aspect comes in. There's two sides to it, and we all have to ensure that we stay on the good side, that for this year to be successful, we're going to have to make consistent choices, but not just consistent choices, consistently good choices. We're going to have to also add another resolution. We're going to have to resolve to make consistently positive choices that are conducive to the success and achievement of all the different goals that we might have for the year. So that would cover what might seem to be all we need to know on consistency. Unfortunately, most persons are going to put up their hands and say, hey, last year I might not have achieved my New Year's resolutions, but I was consistent. There was so many other factors that affected me, and we're going to get a laundry list of excuses just as long as many persons' Christmas wish list. However, the statistic given that 80% of persons or 80% of New Year's resolutions tend to fail suggests that the consistency may not have been in those good decisions. But allow me to play devil's advocate and say that, okay, let's assume everyone made nothing but the good decisions. They were entirely consistent in their good decisions. Or, they were, let's just say they were consistent in those good decisions. So we were also given a timeline that most resolutions lost their resolve by mid-February. So if that's the case, then we can safely say that the majority of persons either abandoned their resolutions or were pretty close to abandoning them by that mid-February timeline. So let's look at that in the context of an entire year. Now, the real gym rats are going to know, especially in the first week in January, the gym is going to be super crowded. And again, let's give the benefit of the doubt to those who may not have been successful in the previous year in achieving their New Year's resolutions. Let's say that they were consistent and they stuck to their plan. That mid-February timeline, let's look at it in the context of an entire year. That's just about a month and a half, 6 weeks. Now, being consistent for 6 weeks, you would think, okay, I've got to see some results. That's good. Now, that 6 weeks is just about 12% of the entire year. So some persons may see positive results after 12 weeks, depending on what your goal is. In this case, I use weight because that's something where you can often see visceral changes. 12% of a year. That means 88% of the time that you had in the year was spent not making consistent choices. That means for the 6 weeks that you were consistent, let's say you were 100% consistent, and I'm sure we can say that isn't true for most people. You were 100% consistent for just 12% of the year. That means almost 8 times over you were making bad decisions. You were not sticking to the plan you had, or you were straying and deviating from it. That means that you basically undid the work of those 6 weeks 8 times over, or at least didn't do anything to improve on the work of those 6 weeks 8 times over. So my charge to anyone listening to this video going into this year, yes, we need to plan. Yes, we need to work hard. Yes, we need to be consistent in making good decisions. But consider that if 80% of persons were consistent for just 12% of the year, imagine how much more success they would have, how much more success you would have if you were consistent for 24% of the year. What about 50% of the year? Or 65%, 75%, maybe even 80% of the year? Think of how much better results you could see for those that saw results. Imagine how much better results you could have for those that didn't see results. Maybe you didn't work hard long enough. So think about what you could have seen, what you could have done better for those that 88% of the time that you weren't necessarily consistent. Now, this obviously isn't addressing those who would have valid excuses, but for those that didn't, consider that you're going to have to be consistent. And 12% of your year definitely isn't enough. You're not going to be passing any tests with 12%. And 50%, even that shouldn't be good enough for you. Let's aim for at least 75% of this year to be consistent in making the good decisions. And I'm certain that we're going to be seeing much better results this year. I hope you all have a wonderful year and your plans are all successful, that you would be among those persons who see their New Year's resolutions to the end and have successful ones. If you like the video, please like, comment, and share your views or any ideas for topics in the future. Share with your friends if you think this is something that they would benefit from. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and when you subscribe, please hit the notification bell so that you'll never miss an upload. This is the Unspecialist thanking you again for seeing the video and saying, until next time.